All right, guys. Well, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pursuit of Progress podcast. As always, I'm Adam, and today I'm actually going to be doing a solo episode while my co host Ben is out of town. And I just wanted to drop something kind of quick, but really powerful and actionable today. This isn't going to be a long lecture. It's going to be really just a shot of clarity and momentum to carry you guys through the rest of the week. So today's topic is going to be all about the 18-minute rule. This is something that I learned recently from actually an influencer and a very, very successful entrepreneur by the name of Jesse Itzler. His wife is Sarah Blakely, who invented Spanx, if you guys are familiar with that. So his wife is actually even wealthier than he is, but they are very successful entrepreneurs, business people. They definitely are billionaires at this point. So definitely just bring that up because he has a lot of credibility behind what he shares. And I really liked this concept, again, of the 18-minute rule. So what this is, it's basically just, this concept that if you spend just 18 really focused minutes a day, regardless of what it is, as long as it's just improving an area of your life, maybe a skill, a mindset, maybe something with your health, something maybe with your finances and your money, just basically just spending 18 minutes on focused work every single day. After about a period of 6 months, you're going to be outperforming 95% of people that do that same thing. I know that sounds small, just saying 18 minutes, but this is an example of compounding and that momentum, similar to what we did on our last week's episode, talking about you burn the most fuel in an airplane during takeoff. That's that same concept of how you want to build up your momentum. And then once you're at that 30,000 foot cruising altitude, like you are in an airplane, it actually becomes a lot easier at that point. So kind of similar to this concept today with this 18-minute rule where, just once you start building up that habit and just start dedicating that amount of time on a frequent daily basis, you're going to see massive results as long as you stick with it. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's just about doing something consistently over time. So first, I want to share with you guys a quote, and then I'm going to give you 4 kind of actionable ideas, maybe things to consider doing to implement this in your lives. So the quote I wanted to first share, though, it's from Jesse Itzler. I wanted to give him a little bit of credit here. So if you gave something 18 minutes of focused effort every single day, you'd be in the top 5% of performers in the world. This isn't hype, it's math and momentum. 18 minutes a day times 365 days a year, that's equivalent to 6,570 minutes in a year. That's over 110 hours of focused effort. And most people spend 0 hours trying to improve anything with that kind of intentionality. So let's talk through this a little bit more. The first thing I want to make a point of is that you don't need 10 hours a day to get great at something. You just need that 18 focus minutes. And I know 18 is a very specific number. I like to use number 20 actually with some of the stuff that I do. But just finding a number that's in that range, I'd say longer than 10 minutes, just so you really can kind of be intentional and get deeper into whatever it is that you're working on. Maybe a half hour might feel a bit too long. Maybe that's sufficient for you, but just somewhere I would say in that 15 to 30-minute range. But for me personally, back in 2019, I was just feeling kind of stuck, and I applied this to my life. So I felt like I was being busy, but I wasn't as being productive. And this was when I was starting to build up my kind of new version of my business with real estate. And I just committed to spending, I used the number 20 instead of 18, as I said, but I used 20 minutes a day, improving just one thing, and that was communication. I wanted to really get better with just how I communicated, how I spoke, the words I use, the inflection in my voice, how I could hopefully engage the person that I was talking to. So there's lots of different ways that I spent time trying to get better at this. Some days I journaled, some days I practiced filming reels and different social media content. Sometimes I just recorded voice notes and listened back to them. Read marketing psychology books. I even just tried to write better call to actions to implement in some of my marketing. It didn't feel like that much in the moment. It just felt like I was just kind of working on in the business type related stuff. But after 6 months, I could definitely start to really feel that momentum and feel like I was starting to make some progress with this. So, I spoke better. I felt like I wrote a little bit clearer. I felt like even just with my sales career in real estate, I felt like I was doing a little bit better job with selling. And I think more people, because of all that, started to say yes. So basically just the lesson here is 110 hours a year in one direction can change everything. It's not about volume. It's about that velocity and that direction. Being intentional is another way to look at that. All right. So 4 areas that I want to help you guys with to apply this 18-minute rule. First off, why this 18 minutes specifically? As I said, I like to maybe do 20 minutes, but to use 18 here for a second, 18 minutes is basically 2% of your day. And when you think of it that way, there really shouldn't be any excuses. It builds your identity. I'm the kind of person who works on myself. I'm improving every single day. Kind of like just the topic of our entire podcast, the pursuit of progress. This helps though create momentum through motion. It's really important just to have that in the back of your mind and just understanding again that 2% of your day, you can make time for 2%. So this first area that I really want to help you guys with is skill building. So just think about like some sort of a skill that maybe you would have a better role in your company with, or maybe you'd have new opportunities for job growth, maybe a totally different job or a career path if you just had that skill that you've been wanting to get better with, but you just haven't done so. So just learn something that it really improves your value and your confidence. So, one example of this could be maybe learning a second language. We're definitely seeing a lot more people here in Colorado speaking Spanish. So maybe it's trying to get that as a solid foundation of your life where you really are bilingual. Or another big one right now, I'd say probably bigger than anything else, in my opinion, as far as something to maybe focus on, is just understanding AI, artificial intelligence, just figuring out some ways, maybe every day, just to learn a little bit more about it, what's new, maybe some of the new tools that are coming out, because that's something that's just changing so fast that you could easily spend 18 minutes a day on that. So that would be the first one, is skills. The second one that I want to share with you guys is just health and movement. Walk, stretch, maybe a body weight workout, maybe a weighted workout in the gym. Really just most importantly, again, here is just getting that motion, getting just that consistency established. Health is the baseline multiplier for everything else you do. So that's why I have this as my non-negotiable first thing I do in the morning. And I just would really implore you guys too, if this isn't right now a priority, just give it some effort and some energy, and just you'd be amazed. I'm almost guaranteeing that you will see, even just in a matter of a couple of weeks, just you're feeling better, you're probably more productive, all that good stuff. And a lot of times we think, well, we can't work out, we don't have enough time, we don't have an hour to go down to the gym, or we don't have an hour to jump on the treadmill. Well, use the same number. Start with 18 minutes, and doing that every single day, as long as you're consistent, is much better than going to the gym once a week for an hour. So consistency is key, and so is that the small daily actions to improve. So that's the second one. The third one is mental discipline. Think of ways that you can just really strengthen your mindset, whether that be journaling, maybe meditating, maybe just reflecting and having gratitude in the morning. One way to do this is just to start asking better questions. What worked today? Where did I avoid some of the discomfort that I've been faced in the past with? What did I learn today? Just these kinds of really simple questions definitely do give you that clarity that a lot of people need, including myself, just to help make those better decisions and less emotional chaos. When you're doing this mental discipline exercise, I think that one thing that is kind of a secondary benefit from it is, again, this confidence that you get just from doing something and being disciplined about it on a consistent basis. After a period of time, it's just crazy how you just build up an additional level of confidence, that momentum that we've been talking about, all that good stuff. And then last but not least, number 4 is going to be money. So money, finances, just how to make money work for you and really be in a better place financially. So a good way to do this with that 18 minutes, you can start auditing your spending, maybe just following up with the lead to try and generate more revenue, more income. Maybe spend that 18 minutes just checking your investments on a more regular basis, maybe researching a new income stream. There's a lot of different ways you could take the money finances here and just, again, improve with little minor adjustments on a daily basis. And, you think about let's just say you're going to be reading a finance book. Maybe it's kind of boring. Maybe it's dry. Well, you know what? 18 minutes, it's going to fly by. You're going to get through that before you know it. And just doing that a little bit each day, you're going to start chipping away on that block. And over time, that book's going to be finished and you'll be on to the next one. So all of these, I think, are just really simple, but I think really strategic, just mindset shifts that you guys can start thinking about. And there's other ways outside of these 4, but these are the 4 that I think are from my personal life, I guess, is some of the ones that I've been focused on. And hopefully maybe you guys can get a little value from those as well. Before we get out of here, though, really quick, guys, I just want to remind you that also every single month, Ben and myself are hosting live free online webinars. It's a masterclass for anybody that's really just considering buying or selling a home here in Denver, Colorado, really in the next 12 to 24 months. You don't have to be actively, ready to buy a home right now. It's still really important just to educate yourself, putting a little bit of that effort up front. So when that time does come, you're in a position to act and make sure you're making that best decision possible for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So we do these webinars live every month, but they do sell out. We cap them at 20 people per masterclass. So there's still a few seats left. We've got one coming up in another week or so. Check it out online if you want to grab your free ticket. It's just webinar.adamsellsdenver.com. And again, that is our sponsor of the week, which also happens to be ourselves. So we're doing a little self-promotion this week because we just love doing these for everybody. And it's a very difficult, just challenging time right now in Denver as far as the real estate goes. And a lot of people have questions. There's a lot of stuff in the media and the news. And I think just having another perspective to consider and just listen to other people that are involved in this on a daily basis, that might be really valuable to you. So again, looking forward to seeing you guys on the webinar. And just to close this one out, you guys, just kind of reminding you about this entire concept, the 18-minute rule. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. It's about compounding effort. You don't need to change everything. You just need to pick one thing and stack those small wins daily. Skill, health, mindset, money, whatever it may be, that 18 minutes a day over the course of a year, that's 110 hours, and you're going to pass 95% of people who are still waiting for the right time. So don't listen to that type of just negative energy and just clouding your mind with false beliefs. You can definitely see an incredible amount of improvement and growth with something as minimal as just 18 minutes a day, and you'll be better than 95% of people out there after just a year if you consistently commit to doing this. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this one. I know it was a kind of a quicker solo episode. I'm a little bit feeling kind of lonely here without my co-host Ben, but I hope you guys, if nothing else, just got a little bit of value from this, got some fuel to use for the rest of the week. If you did, share the show, please. If that's the one thing we ask of you guys, we don't run paid ads on this. We just want to get this out to more people. And hopefully the best way for you guys to help do that is by sharing it with anybody you think might get value from this. So that's it, guys. The Pursuit of Progress podcast. Hope you enjoyed this one. Can't wait to see you next week on a brand new episode. Let's stack those 18-minute wins and go.